I think very few of you would debate me on the statement that people are the single biggest influencer on a company's success. Yet, over 70% of all small and mid-sized businesses do not use a digital tool to manage them today. So what do they do instead? Most companies have some kind of Excel sheet where they keep all their people data. And Excel sheets are great for managing and organizing data. However, the challenge with HR data is that there's various people that need to interact with that data and that need to have access to it. And only very few of them can actually see all data that's in that sheet. So let's look at a few examples. There's two of our personas which we work with internally, Bob Boss and Petra People. As an HR manager and CEO, they of course have full access to all data that's stored in that sheet. However, Bob Boss' copy of the sheet is often outdated, and he anyway doesn't want to look at this data in sheets and columns. Mark Manager, as a team lead, also needs to access this Excel sheet and the data that's in that. For example, if he hires a new person in the team and he's to get access and overview of what his current team earns and the salaries are. However, of course, when he needs to have the data, Petra has to copy it out of the Excel sheet and send it to him over via email. And Diana Doing, as a regular employee, of course, should only have access to her own data and her own access to the sheet. But maybe she has to update, for example, the bank information in her sheet, and therefore has to send an email to Petra, which then manually types in that data into the master sheet to then send it on to the payroll clerks. So this all sounds very cumbersome and very complicated. And that's why we've built Personio as the one-stop shop for all HR-related matters across the employee lifecycle. However, as the HR operating system, we of course do much more than just digitizing an Excel sheet and putting it to the cloud and making it accessible to multiple people. We help our customers to recruit, manage, and develop their people across the whole employee lifecycle and provide features and functionalities that support with these different areas. Let's look at some examples. So Petra, for example, now can just simply generate a contract based on all the data that's already in Personio, instead of having to copy-paste single information out of the Excel sheet and pasting it into a Word document in order to generate a contract. Bob Boss can now simply view a report and get an overview of all people data at his fingertips and make people decisions based on this information. Mark Manager can not only view and access information of his people, but he can also approve requests of his people, such as vacation, sick days, and many others. And when Diana Doing next time changes her bank account, she can now just simply log into Personio, update her data, and then have it directly be sent to payroll or whoever needs to work with it. So, as you can see from these examples, Personio is not just a tool for the HR department, but it's a tool for the entire organization. So let's look at some usage data from our customers. Our core user, the HR managers, 86% of them log in on a daily basis and work 1.5 hours on average with the tool. 60% of all executives log in at least once per week to also view data, view reports, approve vacation, or be involved in the recruiting. And over 50% of all employees that we manage at our customers log in at least once per month to request a vacation, update their data, or potentially look at their pay slips. So why is this a big problem? Let's zoom out from the individual company perspective. There's 1.7 million companies in Europe that are in the SME space between 10 and 1,000 employees. And as said, 70% of them do not use a digital tool to manage their people. So that's 1.2 million companies. And you've seen before how cumbersome it is to use an Excel sheet for those problems. Based on that market potential and the product we've built, we've managed to grow to close to 1,000 customers today, of which each of them on average manage 136 employees within Personio. So that's over 100,000 people that are today managed at Personio at our customers. Of course, this also has led to an internal headcount growth. We're close to 120 people by now, which are all working from our office in Munich. And after being bootstrapped for a little bit over a year in the beginning, we've raised a little bit over 12 million euros from over 2 rounds. So you might ask yourself, why now? Why is this, after all these years where HR has not been digitized and all these companies have been using Excel sheets, why is now the right timing to build a company such as Personio? And therefore, I'd like to look at a different category, which is also related to enterprise software, which is CRM software. In the early 1990s, Siebel Systems has been established in order to digitize and help salespeople manage their processes. A decade later, Salesforce entered the market, brought it to the cloud, essentially established the SaaS industry, and made it much easier for the softwares to be implemented. However, it still is a very complex product, and Salesforce is therefore also quite expensive, and a lot of SMEs do not want to afford it or cannot deal with the complexity of the product. And that opened up the opportunity for companies like Pipedrive to offer a more simpler solution to also allow these SME companies to bring a cloud-based CRM software. We see a very similar development in the HR space, with companies like SAP and Oracle being founded in the 1970s already, in the beginning starting with financial software, have also built HR modules. Then in 2005, Workday has moved these HR modules into the cloud, providing a more simple UI and an easier way of managing those people. And now we see that now is the right time, that after the SMEs have digitized all the other functions in the company, that now they should also be digitizing their HR. And that's why we've built Personio, and that's why we want to establish Personio as the category-leading solution for SMEs in Europe. Thank you very much.